Oh goodness. Okay, so we're having some technical difficulties. I hope you're all seeing me, and I hope this is working. It seems to be on this end now. If it's not, oh, we glitched there. I'm hoping that this is all good. So if it's not, in the comments, Beth, if you could tell me if you can hear me or not, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm just running my mouth for nothing, you know. Uh, but in the meantime, been a whole lot going on, ladies and gentlemen, in the industry. Of course, you all, if you've been watching this at any time, if you're in the Discord, you're reading the mail or the news that I put out every single day, and there's a lot going on, man. Yeah, it's Beth. Kind it is kind of toppy. Hey, Tip Top, how you doing? Uh, uh, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's happening here. Uh, we're having net issues here, and in our area. I'm hoping this doesn't come to a grinding halt very quickly. It does, we may have to reschedule this because if it keeps going in and out, I just don't think I don't want to waste anybody's time. And I definitely don't want a video that's not worth a shit. That would be terrible, terrible. But it is kicking in and out, and I can see some things going on. Hopefully, it's fine, but we'll keep going as long as humanly possible. I hate doing this, you know. Let's just see what happens. For right now, let's just see what happens. And but anyway, let's end because we've got quite a few things to talk about. Hopefully, let's play an ad real quick and check it out, and let's pay some bills. So hit it, Brando. Hey, y'all, from time to time, you guys hit me up and you ask me, where do I get my display cases from? Do you got anybody you would suggest? As a matter of fact, I would. Displayarama.com has all your cases and smoke shop needs for displays. These guys are a family-owned operation. And here, let me show you some examples. And I also don't forget about this one. And hey, check this one out. And if you use code ChadWade5 when you go to check out, they'll know to give you Chad's discount, which is 5% off your total order. How you gonna beat that, man? 5% off. All right. Now, don't forget, use that code ChadWade5 at the end and get the discount. Don't waste money, man. Save the 5%. Get quality cases that are even in my shop. So if they're good enough for old Chad, good enough for you. Check them out, displayarama.com. You're gonna love them. I know I do. Well, I don't know. I don't know how that came in. Hey everybody. Hey, there's G. What's up, G? And Truth Hurts. Hey, Truth Hurts. Brad Graham. Look there. Look at Bradley over there. He's even checking us out tonight. Everybody, I don't know if you remember or not, but Bradley used to work with us, and Bradley did the video. He was a videographer for a number of years here. So, but Brad's moved on to bigger and better things down in the Nash Vegas, as we like to call it, But we are, I guess we need to move forward on this. Hopefully, everything will be fine on this end, and let's just see what happens, But yeah, Bradley's doing some big things down there, and I appreciate you being here tonight, Bradley. Thank you so much, and had a good time seeing you last time I was down in Nashville too. That was fun. We had a good time. Yeah, the video's weird, man. Beth, you're right. The video's weird tonight. It's the internet, I think. I think it's we're having some issues up here, in Kentucky, especially around the Louisville area and storm, but it is what it is, man. We'll try to go as long as we can. If it's going to become some kind of weirdness, we'll do it again next Thursday or something, see what happens. If we have to move it around a little bit, we will. But hey, let's jump into this first one, Brandon, and we're going to talk about this FDA campaign that they pushed for us. And I'm not real pleased with this bunch in any way whatsoever. The FDA is now sending out letters. I don't know if any of you have gotten them yet, but we have not. So I have not seen these personally, but I do know that the FDA is pushing over 300,000 retail letters. And apparently, September the 30th, the FDA commissioner, Marty Markey, McKay, published a statement launching a retail education and compliance initiative. They assert that almost 54% of vaping products, I'll bet it's a hell of a lot more, to be honest, are unauthorized, which means illegal on their end. Many of these unauthorized devices are flavored and they have gimmicks like built-in games, Bluetooth speakers, bullshit of that nature, and are imported and circumventing review. Well, that's probably true, man. That's probably very true. And the FDA is apparently mailing informational packets to vape shops, convenience stores, gas stations, and it's going to contain a list of the 39 e-cigarettes and 20 nicotine pouches that are legally authorized. Remember that word, authorized. And directions to use the FDA searchable tobacco product database, which catalogs the 17,000 regulated tobacco products across all categories. And then about retailer education materials, compliance calendars, reminders to check IDs, required photo ID. But you know what? If you got a shop and you don't know to check IDs, you need to get the hell out of this business, bro. If you don't know to check IDs, and I don't care how, we're supposedly, now I can't tell you that every store does it because I'm not in charge of everybody, but they're supposed to check everybody's ID. Now, if they do it or not, I don't know, man. I don't know, but they're supposed to. Okay. And the FDA frames this as a soft enforcement phase. Whatever that means, man. And they want voluntary compliance. Well, normally, in all honesty, man, this is really set up so that when they send these letters out to remove your excuse of ignorance, and that's really what this is for. And we're supposed to not be ignorant to it, but sometimes ignorance is bliss when it comes to making money. And but man, you're supposed to be checking, and you've watched TV, Pam Bondi and RFK stood up there in front of that place and that they rated, and they said that all these, and they told, some of the brands that weren't legal, and they're the big names, and it is what it is, man. This is but probably the biggest question has to be that the FDA told us that, while things were under review, you could still sell them. And I think that's the problem here with the PMTA review. And now they're snatching that back out from underneath us and they're telling us, no, it's not the way we're going to do things, man. And, but they've already seized millions of these things, probably more than you ever realize, because they just don't make it into the country. Now that's a problem in and of itself, y'all. And hopefully we can, as a group here, try to do something different and make it better. But I can't tell you that that's going to be the truth. I can't tell you how bad this is going to get, but I really believe that they're going to start enforcing this shop to shop. And I have been putting out a lot of stuff about it in the Discord. And I can tell you, man, it's ugly. And they really, truthfully are coming in on us. And they're going to make this even worse. And the longer you try to skirt it, the worse it's going to be. Now, that's me just telling you the absolute honesty about it. But if you want to be up to date on this, Brandon has listed the Discord here and where how you can get into it. You got to answer a few questions. I got to be able to vet your ass. I am going to need your name. I'm going to need a contact number. I'm going to need to know what shop you're from. I'm not just letting just anybody in this thing. And we are not going back to the selling you, 25, $30,000 worth of product. You send the money and then they never get it. We're not doing that. We're never going back to that again. I'm never letting that happen on my watch again. So you are going to have to answer. I got a couple already in there that's waiting to be approved that aren't answering my questions to them. And so I'm just not letting them in. So if you're one of them and you're watching tonight, I'm letting you know you better answer that Discord, because I'm definitely not letting you in if you don't answer. I need a full name. I need a phone number. I need to be able to contact you, and you need to answer that phone when I call. And if you don't, bro, you're not getting in. It's the way it is. That's how it is. So I'm telling you now, if you're a customer of ours and I know this, and I'll just let you right in, because, I already know how to contact you. I already know you. You're actually for real. But it is what it is. We'll deal with that. But let's move on to the next one, y'all, because the FDA vape crackdown is leaving smoke shops facing an uncertain future. Okay. A local TV outlet reports that smoke shop operators are seeing products vanish and skyrocketing compliance risk and supplier uncertainty due to more aggressive federal posture. The article references Operation Vape, and that's a DEA and a federal enforcement initiative that has apparently seized millions, and I mean millions, of vapes. Highlights the federal machinery behind the crackdown. Okay. Shops mentioned that some previously stable brands are now being flagged and shipments delayed, or distributions pulling back and of their market lines. And so you are seeing less supply. And I know that's becoming a huge hassle for a lot of people. Uh, the sense is that the many shops are feeling the industry is entering a gray zone that was once tolerated, but it's no longer safe. And I don't know if a lot of you know of it, but if you are deemed a menace, if your store is deemed a menace, and they find you as a public menace, you can lose your license. You can be blackballed as an individual. Your LLC can be blackballed, and you can't open in that county. And that's pretty much how it goes. And it's a pretty interesting article to read there, man. And these last two articles, the first article is excellent. It was an excellent article to read. This one right here really shows how fearful that the retailer is right now, and very, very nervous. And, I've talked to several retailers here in the last couple of weeks that are very, very scared because, 40, 50% of their business was that every day, every 2 or 3 days, a customer that would come in and buy a vape. And they would be the neighborhood store. And, when they don't have what they're looking for, the customer has to venture out because they're ultimately addicted to Nick Salt, which we've talked about before, that Nick Salt is very, very addictive. And these people have gone out and they're finding new lines from new people. And in all honesty, maybe they should try something different, because if you can't love the one you got, you better love the one you're with, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. And people really need to understand that you're going to see less and less and less Geek Bar. I know that there's the new Geek Bar that's come out, because I just saw it in my Discord. One of the vape suppliers in there is showing it. And he's talking about, that it's out here and they're going to have it real soon. And I've heard all that before. I've seen a lot of people getting it very soon that don't ever get it. And I'm telling you, I could, let me see if I may even be able to show it to you here. Yeah. I think he put a video of it up. Yeah. So whatever that is. But that's the new Geek Bar, by the way. And that's pretty interesting if you ask me, Uh, but whatever. And so he's got them, or he's about to have them. And if you're interested in them, you need to get in that Discord, and maybe he can ship you some. But believe you me, they're also not cheap. And don't let anybody fool you. They are out there, but they're getting more and more expensive every single day. And we are seeing the prices raise. Here in Kentucky, you're not supposed to be selling them at all already. And a lot of the distributors are here locally have stopped selling them altogether. So when they find them, they snatch everything up immediately and start selling them wide open. And I don't know about where you're at. You may be finding less and less stock, but then you're probably just switching over to other things. These pouches are also becoming problematic, I'm hearing. I had people ask me the other day, we do not sell them at UNS Wholesale. We do not sell nicotine product like that. I have a few vapes altogether. I do have a few vapes, but once I'm out, I swear I'm done. So once I have sold what we've got, we will no longer carry that type of product. Now I'll have vapes for Delta products and Blue Lotus and stuff like that, and mushroom product, but I will not carry any more nicotine product like that. I'm done. I'm not going to source this stuff. I'm not bringing it in. I can just see the problems that's happening. Because remember, when you order this stuff, there is an invoice in your name shipped to you, and if that place is hit, they're going to know that you got them. And so that is called a paper trail in my former life. And no, thank you. I do know what the feds are capable of, and I want no part of it. Thanks, but I'm just letting you know that you might need to pivot. Now, that's going to be very unpopular to hear, and it's not what anybody wants, but it's definitely not, it's not unheard of, if that makes sense. So yesterday, Beth reached out to me on Discord and let me know that this moron of a governor they've got is signing an executive order to temporarily ban Delta 8 products or intoxicating hemp. And Mike DeWine is apparently power hungry and doing some bullshit. And he had a live stream of him acting a fool and really kind of double talk, a lot of double talk and jive, really. And he bugs me, man, the way he acted up there on that stage. And then he brought this little this young doctor up there, and she talked a lot of nonsense too, if you ask me. Uh, Beth says that's why we stick with trusted wholesale companies. Thanks, Beth. I appreciate you for that. I really do. I really appreciate you doing that. But old Mike here, he declared a consumer product safety emergency, issuing an executive order that temporary bans intoxicating hemp, like Delta 8, Delta 9, THC, synthetic cannabinoids for 90 days, effective October 14th. Okay, so today is October the 9th. So you got a few days to get rid of what you got. Hopefully you can. Hopefully people will get together and buy the living hell out of it. Or you can, in all honesty, buy the hell out of it right now and store it, because I think, like Beth said, Beth and I had this discussion, that they're going to have a hell of a fight when it comes to, having it permanently banned. Okay. And apparently retailers must remove these products from public display, stop sales, and segregate inventory for possible seizures. Violations may incur $500 day fine for each day the product remains on sale past the deadline. The order also redefines the administrative definition of hemp in Ohio, excluding intoxicating hemp from what is considered legal hemp under state rule. The governor cites concern over poison control calls. I mean, who the hell knows what those people had even taken? I mean, what are you saying, Tip Top? Uh, Folks will just buy it on the internet and have it shipped in state. Well, hey, you're exactly right, man. The thing about Americans is there's always a way around stuff. Here in America, the Wild West is still the internet, and most people will ship that right to them and claim, "Oh, we didn't know, Governor DeWine, that we couldn't do that, and we will not do that." But anyway, according to reports, exposure to Delta 8, Delta 9, and those under aged 19 have more than doubled from 2021 to 24. Well, some of the usual suspects is probably selling it, but what can you say, right? The ban does not apply to non intoxicating hemp products, CBD oils, topicals, blah, 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 or regulated marijuana in licensed dispensaries. Now, apparently, maybe you could even sell this in dispensaries. I don't know. That said, some retailers have already filed legal challenges and temporary restraining orders arguing overreach. Now, of course, it's overreach because when this moron was asked about the bars and the drinks being served in the bars, he did a lot of double talking and he was not certain how that was going to work. But reaching out to some bar owners that I have some contact with up there in Ohio, my daughter goes to school up there. We've got some sales reps up there, and they tell us that they've already been contacted saying that they will probably have to pull those Delta drinks and take them off until this is all cleared up, and we'll see what happens. Hang on, Beth. Let's see what you got to say there. Mike can't be trusted. The wording of his order is very misleading. One I seen say you can store it, and the other said to dispose of it. It's also an order, not a law. That's exactly right. Uh, he had a lot of issues with his orders during a certain period a few years ago. Well, that's exactly right, too. Okay. Ohio law does not allow hemp to be sold in dispensaries, from what I understand. Well, okay, but if you remember what he was talking about in the his live, he just wants to be another Andy Beshear. Really, that's our governor here in Kentucky. He's a complete jackass too. It's amazing these people can even get elected. But he kept talking about how dispensaries already knew how to deal with this and how bars knew how to read license and things of that nature. He swore up there on that stage that kids could just walk in and buy this stuff. Man, I don't believe that. I mean, maybe you can from the usual suspects in the gas station or whatever, but I don't believe that any reputable retailer just allows you to go in there at 13, 14, 15 years old, like he was claiming, and can just buy this off the counter and take it up there and do it. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And, where Bella goes to school at, I like to go and visit those stores. And while I'm in there, they don't really know who I am or nothing, thank God. And I go in there and I watch them card every single joker that walked in there. And so much, in fact, that when Bella was with me, she would stay outside. She says, "Well, they're going to card me, Dad. So if I don't have ID, they're going to make me leave anyway. So I'm just going to stand out here because I wanted a cigar." And so I went in there and got it. And I watched him card people. And yeah, it is gas stations, Beth. You're exactly right, because that's exactly what he said. And that the gas station folks, he even called them folks, was who's selling it to them. Well, reputable dealers in this, which is smoke shops, will honestly card everybody because we've got the most to lose. I mean, I know you think, well, it's a gas station. They've got hundreds of thousands of gallons of gasoline to lose. Well, that's not necessarily true because maybe they have that on a note and they haven't even paid for that until it's sold. So you got to understand the gas business and how that goes. And if they lose their license to sell tobacco, well, they can still sell everything else. And so they're not gonna lose that revenue for gas, believe you me. And so these people really have caused a shitload of problem by just selling vapes and bullshit like that to kids if they are. Now I can't tell you that. I'll just tell you, for me, I'm responsible for Chad. I'm responsible for the people I work with, and that's about it. Now I can't tell you what everybody else does in their store, and you guys that have your own shops, you're responsible for your clique, and that's it. We can't do anything about what everybody else is doing. We can only do it right. But of course, we are the ones who are always punished for the bad actors in our industry. And believe you me, there's a lot of them, a lot of them. All right. So it's a bitch, man. But more importantly, it's not just Ohio that's going through this. Here in January, we will go to low dose hemp here in Kentucky, and they will penalize every single store here, and that will really suck. Beth says most of the gas stations around here only own the business inside of the building, and the gas station is part of a lease out from the big companies. Yes, that's the way it's done here in Kentucky as well. It's done that way in a lot of places, and they don't even own the tanks. They don't own the pumps. They don't own the overhang. All they're doing is literally collecting the money, getting a cut of the proceeds for the sale of the gasoline, and then they get the grocery, of course, and they get the drinks, and they get the add-ons, and the cords for the telephones and the phone cases, and the hot counter and all that. So yeah, you're exactly right. That's exactly how it's done. And so I have never seen it done any other way. I don't even remember anybody ever owning a gas station. And I'm 53. So now, I mean, maybe out in the country somewheres, yeah, maybe, but it's expensive. It's expensive to own that shit. Okay. But hey, I mean, Ohio's got it bad, like especially right this second. Ohio's really kind of screwed up here. Don't get me wrong. But let me show you this article from Texas. Okay. Old Governor Abbott down there, he's a tough on crime joker. He calls for tough action against vapes and smoke shops violating hemp laws. He's a real tough guy. On October 7th, old Greg here directed the Department of Public Safety, the DPS, to increase enforcement against vape smoke shops not following hemp law. DPS Criminal Investigations Division, that should be a TV show probably, CID, will lead targeted operations, inspections, undercover buys, in collaboration with federal, state, local agencies to catch violations. If that's all you got to do is look for vapes and hemp, you got some other issues. And believe you me, you got some cartel problems down there in Texas that you should be looking into other than vape shops, folks. This follows earlier executive order, more executive orders being given here by Abbott requiring stricter ID checks on hemp products sold to minors. Well, okay, that's a good idea. I agree. The move is couched as a measure to protect children, protect the kids from dangerous hemp products. Well, start penalizing their parents for allowing that shit to go on. When you bust them in the school system, bust their ass out in public. I mean, maybe they should go to court. Maybe they should have some issues. Maybe you should take their license to drive away. I don't know. I mean, have some punishment to fit the crime. Texas passed Senate Bill 2024, effective September the 1st of 25, prohibiting the sale and marketing and advertising of vape pens containing cannabinoids, including THC, CBD, Delta 8, In many retail settings, violations are a Class A misdemeanor. And critics argue the law has loopholes, especially since possession is not criminalized. Wow. So you can have it in your possession, but you can't buy it in that state. So here we go again, Tip Top. They can order that shit online, have it sent in to them right to their front door, and that's perfectly lawful. Now, does that make sense to you? That don't make sense to me. And I think that's ridiculous. Ridiculous that you can do that. And I mean, apparently, these shops are on notice that these people are coming around and they're looking into it and they want to know that you understand the law. Well, I mean, the law is punitive at best, just not to the consumer. It's just to the people that might sell it to you. But yet, if you're out of state and you, I don't know, put it into them from, because you do know that you can buy some of this stuff on Amazon. You can buy CBD on Amazon, whether you know it or not. You could probably buy a lot of shit, from places that you might not understand. But a lot of our industry is going straight to Amazon, whether we know it or not. You can buy glass pipes, you can buy grinders, you can buy scales, and that's probably not what a lot of you want to hear, but it is the truth. I have really found that to be problematic on my end, especially for papers, because you can buy boxes of papers cheaper from Amazon than you can from distribution. And and that's crazy to me. That's very, very crazy. And, as long as they don't have tobacco in it or anything of that nature, they sell it, believe it or not. And are we coming to that point in our lives here that we may see our industry attacked wide open like this? The answer is yes. And big box like Amazon and even eBay now. I even see it on Etsy. That's out there. Oh, Hunter's talking about he's had counterfeit papers from Amazon, uh, from Raw and Blazy Susan. Fentanyl is what they need to worry about. You're exactly right, Tip Top. And half the country, half the country is legal now. Sadly, most of the issue as adults have no issue buying stuff for their kids. That's ridiculous to me too. I even remember my wife picking my child up from high school, and when she got in the car in front of her, the mother literally handed the vape pen to her idiot kid because he had to have it right then. And to me, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world, is that you would help your child do something like that. And I mean, I know, I got an old man sound about me right now, but you know, uh, no, you're not going to do that, man. You're just not going to do that as a responsible parent. I mean, if your kids want to get out there and break it up and do their own thing, break the law, do it on your own time. Don't do it. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to help my kid do that. You have to trust me. I don't want her going down where I've already been. Uh, yeah. Beth said quality knockoffs, and they're allowed returns. That's the ridiculous part of it. I agree. They do that, right? Uh, yeah, my mom didn't buy no cigarettes either, Tip Top. I had to steal them right off my dad's dashboard of his truck. And you would get 3 or 4 or 5, 6 cigs in a pack. You know, I remember the Winstons. They was the paper pack. And dad's, he's like, I feel like I'm smoking way too much. I remember him telling my mom, and she goes, "Why? What do you mean?" And he said to her, he goes, "Well, it just seems like I'm buying a pack of cigarettes every time I turn around." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I hope you still do, because I sure love those cigarettes." And of course, we was smoking down in the barn. I grew up on a farm, and I was very, very sick at first, and I kind of got used to them. And yeah, anyway, it's a different world, different world. And I remember I would take his lighter and everything. I remember my little white Bic I had forever, forever. And I even remember one time we were smoking a cigarette and went to light it, relight it. Believe it or not, we had to relight the damn thing. And when I relit it, it wouldn't light. But by chance, we caught a spark, and that's the only way we got to smoke the rest of the cigarette because that's the only we only had one. Of course, you remember when you first start smoking cigarettes, you're all sharing the same damn cigarette. I remember it so well, but they were my dad's cigarettes, and I had a hard time finding a lighter after that because Dad didn't keep it with his cigarettes, and so I had to find one. I happened to find one in the truck that he had in between the seats that he had apparently thought he lost, and so I had it forever. So the things you remember when we're talking about shit like this. That I remember that one was red a red one, and it was in a red seat, and in between it had a little thing passed through right between it, and it had apparently fallen out of his pocket and got in between the seats, and he just never recovered it and got a new lighter because they was cheap. And anyway, but it was a good Bic and it lasted forever. But anyway, so let me tell you about this fifth article I got for us tonight. It's about regulation from the U.S. It's a Tobacco Insider, which is an industry magazine, and it's about the regulatory landscape. It's the update that's happening, and it's about this article here is talking about the reoccurring Tobacco Insider column. It's summarizing. This really just tells you all about the major federal and state regulatory movements affecting tobacco and vape nicotine. I found that pretty insightful, to be honest. And the FDA's proposed nicotine yield standards for cigarettes. So now they're looking at the nicotine yields. So you may find some of these cigarettes not having nearly the nicotine in it because they are playing really unfair with it. And they're paying attention to every single ounce now of tobacco. And they want to change the changes in how flavor and synthetic nicotine and coolants may be classified or regulated in the new rules. So remember, these vapes that are coming out that is a synthetic nicotine type is going to soon be regulated under these vape laws, because they're already ahead of everything going on here, because people thought they could get around this whole thing and it would make them totally legal. But if you read this article here, you're going to find out that they're already on top of that. And the intention is to publish a master list of tobacco products to clarify which are legal or disallowed, because remember, allowed and approved, two different things, way two different things, y'all. Okay. And it discusses about the FDA backlog, about the backlog of the PMTA. And they're really, really badly backlogged. And so also the litigation about the industry suing and to block these new rules. And of course, they're not hearing that. The Supreme Court is already not allowing some of these people to prosecute on this because they don't find it helpful for the FDA. And so it looks like the FDA is going to get away with a lot of this. And also the procedural delays, like the OMB reviews and the comment periods. They want you to be able to have a comment period as far as the public, and they want to be able for you to discuss this so that when they do these reviews, they'll be able to look through this and find out how many people really want this, how many people really don't want this, and if you're going to be vocal about it or not. And believe it or not, the Supreme Court does get to see this stuff. So if this shit's important to you, you need to be opening your mouth and saying something. And there's a lot to read here. This is a really good article that goes in depth, especially about this nicotine reduction plan for cigarettes. And you're going to be seeing a new cigarette in the next 5 years that you're not seeing right now. And that's not going to be healthy, but it's not going to be as bad as we have right now. Because once you realize how much nicotine is really in a cigarette now and how much of it is not a true nicotine and more of a synthetic additive, it's kind of scary. But also, when they start talking about a coolant, which is what we call menthol or a mint flavor, when you find out about the synthetics and the synthesis of this, because it does go into pretty in-depth article here about it, maybe you don't smoke that shit either. But I think what's more telling about this whole article was the point of the nicotine and how they're talking about the different synthetic nicotines that are out there that are being put into vape products that actually skirt the law with the PMTA. They're going to close that loophole very, very quickly. And if you're holding them, they're going to probably clamp down on those as well. It's a very scary time, y'all. These people are very, very serious about what they're doing, and they mean to stamp this out in some way. Growing up, I would have never believed I wouldn't see people like openly smoke because I can remember being in nightclubs and watching people smoke inside of them. I can remember when Jamie and I first got married, I was working in a nightclub where they were smoking. It was very, very odd. Yeah, especially like Denny's. I remember that we would go into Denny's and eat breakfast, Brandon and I would, and I could smoke right at the table. They had ashtrays. It was wild. Of course, I can remember McDonald's having ashtrays and people smoking. It had a little M on it, and they were the little bendable, tin ones, and it's pretty cool, man. And but I just remember a lot growing up that I thought would never change, and then slowly but surely, it changed. It changed. It changed dramatically. Hunter up here is talking about definitely good and bad. Let's hope big tobacco doesn't have much overreach in the FDA ruling. Well, of course they will, bro. Of course they will. It's meet the new boss, same as the old boss, man. It's that situation. It's yeah, nothing's changed, bro. Nothing, Hunter. Nothing is going to change. The uh, the big dollar is what you have to worry about, and big tobacco is is a cog in the big machine. In all honesty, and yeah, Hunter, you're right. It was a great time to be alive. I can't believe most of us are still breathing. Some of us aren't. Some of us aren't still breathing. And we, I have had a lot of friends die. I've had a lot of friends, pass away. And but we lived through things that now you would just believe people are dying in mass droves. Who would have believed we'd ever drunk out of water hoses? Who'd believe we'd rode in the back of trucks, going places? And I remember it being full of my whole little league team, going to the Dairy Queen after the ball game, and every team doing it. Now it's the old man thing. I didn't walk uphill to school both ways. We rode a bus like most people, but I do remember all that very well. I remember as soon as we'd gotten out of church or something, everybody smoking on the front porch, and everybody, and they didn't smoke during church. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, everywhere you went, people had a cigarette. I remember the first concert I went to. It was so hazy in the building, you could barely see the band because they were smoking right there in the auditorium. When I saw Skid Row and Aerosmith, they were still smoking in Freedom Hall. I remember it very well. And I mean, man, it was something. It was a great time to be alive. Don't get me wrong, but I sure inhaled a lot of secondhand smoke. But I mean, maybe we were smoking a lot on our own too. So it is what it is. And I mean, things just change, but the more things change, the more things stay the same too. And I know that's an old saying, but it's very, very true, especially the fact that big tobacco is never going to change. They're just going to evolve. And the evolution of tobacco, just like you said, Hunter, is here. And so I thought it was going to be one of those things where vaping was going to take over. I honestly would have, would have never thought that vape. I hated vape, man. I didn't even like selling it in the stores. I don't like selling it in stores. I don't. I know what's in vape, and I know what those chemicals look like, and I know that it ain't pretty, y'all. And and most of you that have owned a shop long enough know exactly what's in vape products and how that popcorn lung does affect you after a while, and how the effects to your taste buds, the numbness in your lips and your mouth. And some people I've even heard read a study about ringing in your ears. Have you heard that part? Because of the draw, and then other things like and especially the smell that gets all over you because they're in the car with it, and I've watched them blow clouds and they roll the window down and smoke shoots out both sides of the windows, which I think's kind of funny, but still though it's got douche written all over it. When you see that, and I hate watching people blow clouds. I think that's the dumbest damn thing in the world. But now they got a product out here that it's like low, like the VG the liquid is more so that there's less cloud. It's more what's the word they said? More discreet, so that you could vape indoors with it. Like it's just a small puff. It's not no, there's just no nothing to it, and it doesn't blow any kind of smoke like substance. There's a little bit, but not a lot, and I think that's very telling to where the whole thing's going. And so I forget if it was VG or PG that they were doing like that. I forget what it was called. Um, can't remember, man. But I do know it's called InvisiCloud. Um, right there's I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. Yeah, right there. It's in VisiCloud, and 50,000 puffs, and it's called Cloud Free Adjustable Power and a 3D curved screen, which that's kind of cool. But apparently that's going to be the next big thing. But it's also, I don't know how much of it is going to be. It's gonna be out there. I really don't. I don't know if it's gonna have if it's got the fake nicotine in it. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. It's not something I've checked on. Beth says when they first became popular for the cloud, you never knew if you needed to extinguish the car in front of you at the stoplight, or if they were vaping. Well, yeah, because the one time Jamie and I pulled in behind a car and it shot so much cloud, it hit my truck, and I thought, oh my god, that damn truck, that car's on fire. I really thought it, and then all of a sudden it cleared up and there was no smoke. I just could not believe how much of a cloud exactly, Beth, came out. And but since then, and then I noticed these people, and they would have that battery, just like a hand grip, and then it would have the tank, and they'd hit it, and they all had the same look, and they couldn't wait to look you in the face and blow that cloud behind them. And I hate that look, man. I really do, and it always seemed to me a certain type of person was doing that. Now, does that mean that they're bad or weird or anything like? No, they don't mean that, but I just oh, douche. That's all I could think, just douche. When I would see them, it just rang in my head, and it still does when I still see them. But, you're seeing less and less of it. So is that evolving as well? Or did those people just get older and quit doing it? Because it takes a long time. You got to fill up the tank, you got to clean the tank out, you got to get new coils. It's a job. And because right now the juice isn't as heavily looked at as the device, and so the disposable, and they're not really looking at that nearly as much. So is the juice not part of this? I don't know. Can you buy, flavoring by itself? And can you buy the nicotine by itself and then you mix your own? Is that lawful? I don't know the answer to that either. I think that's the loophole for the juice and the devices like that. I don't know the answer to that. If any of you all know the answer to that, that'd be wonderful for you to talk about. That'd be cool. And, but I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that. And so, I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I need to look into that. I need to find out what the exact law for that is because I really don't know the answer. And I'm kind of hoping some of you all do. I don't even know of a lot of stores that sell juice anymore because, keeping the latest tanks and the newest mods and the coils and everything, it's a lot of work for a retailer to do. And then they got to constantly chase the juice, and what flavors the most, most popular. And then when it falls out of vogue, they're stuck with the juice. What do? They have to discount the living hell out of it and pray they can sell it. And that's what I always found was wrong with that. I can't tell you how much of that shit we threw in the garbage. And we literally, I don't know that we lost money, but I know that, for carrying cost year after year after year. And man, they would even buy old product and all they wanted was their flavor. They didn't care. They really didn't care. And that's when I knew what addiction, for this shit was. And when they were buying old product that was out of date, they didn't care. And and did you know that there is a date on most of this stuff? And that some people have gotten really smart and quit putting dates on them. So kind of is what it is, y'all. You know. But hey, we're at the top of the hour here, and it's kind of been a hell of a show, to be honest, because this thing going in and out. I'm hoping it hasn't been too choppy and that you could follow along with it. But I appreciate everybody that showed up. Tip Top and Hunter and Beth here. I appreciate you guys coming in. I really, really do. I appreciate everybody that stopped in tonight. I really love the conversation that we've all had with it. And I really appreciate everything. Don't forget, y'all, really get on the Discord and become part of this. Get in there and talk to each other. I am literally watching them talk tonight about some things, and kind of odd, but it kind of is what it is, and it is what it is, and so I wish you'd be a part of it, Hey, and don't forget, y'all, I've got a book for sale on Amazon. Should you want that, maybe Brandon will show that here. And but I've got that, and it's a pretty good read for you. It's probably a day or two's all to take you to read. It's not a real thick book, not a big deal, but I am an international bestseller, whether you know it or not, and it really does help out to support the channel. And we I do sell quite a few of them, just to be honest. And so it's kind of cool to have, around. But also don't forget, UNS Wholesale, should you need some product in your store, I'd be more than happy to do it. Grover, Brandon, or myself can be your rep. We could chop it up, talk about anything you need to when you contact us. These boys have a lot of time in this industry, and they can help you put a hell of a lot of product in your store that will move. We have a good sized database where we know exactly what's selling in your state, and we do have people in your state that we are selling to. We got a pretty deep list of customers, and we know what's selling and what's not. So should you have some questions about that and you don't really know what to order, you're looking for a build out of a store, you can do that really, really easy. Oh yeah, fast shipping always. If you pay, it ships. Beth tell you, if you pay, it ships. And the only time it wouldn't is if you put that thing in at 3:30 and UPS picks it up at 3:45 and we haven't got it picked, we haven't got it packed, we haven't got it charged, but it will leave the very next day. So if you pay, it ships. But hit us up over at unswholesale.com. We'll be glad to get it out to you. But hey, that's what I got for the night, y'all. Thank you for showing up and being a part of this. If this thing has been choppy and a mess for you, I'm sorry. We'll do it better next time, hopefully. But I really can't make the internet be any better than it really is. Hey, what do you think about the new studio back there, too? You like that? You like that look? Yeah, it's a green screen, just to be honest. But I think it looks better. I'm pretty happy with it. I like the background. I like that. I can change that up. We'll go in a different background next time and we'll see what we can do. But other than that, man, that's what I got, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. You guys be safe out there. If you need me for anything, you can hit me up over at the wholesale or askchadwade@gmail.com. Send me an email. If you got questions, I hope to have answers. If you've got some breaking news, please send that to me. I would love to have that. If I can help you with any questions you got about the industry or life in general, I'll try to help. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad. So maybe it was just, you guys need to see an ad. Bez, I'm glad. I'm really, really happy of that. Okay. And Michael, thank you, man. Appreciate you being here. And guys, really, I'm being honest. Be safe out there. Try to be compliant as much as possible. I know our industry is kind of outlawish. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I can only take care of me. But if you was to be selling out of the back room, and you just got to do what you got to do. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I know what I do. Got to do what you got to do. Rule number one is don't lose money. All right, everybody. That being said, I'm gonna get off here. Thank you so much. If you need me, don't forget, askchadwade@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to help you in any way. All right, y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and see you soon. Bye.